Esma. So in the previous classes, we have seen the concept of sessions, right? So the reason why we moved for the sessions concept is to overcome the drawback of cookies, right? What are the drawbacks of cookies? When the user disables the cookies in our browser, the cookies won't work for you. And also, as the data is storing at the browser end, somebody may take the data, they can misuse it. So to overcome these two drawbacks, we are moving for the concept of sessions, as sessions are going to store in the server side. Okay, fine. We are going to create the session with the help of a session start method, and we can able to get the session variables. We can able to set the session variables. Similarly, we can able to remove the session variables with the help of session underscore set method for the removal of a particular session variable. If you want to remove all the session variables, then you can go for session underscore destroy method. Okay, and then we have seen a simple example regarding uh, the sessions concept, that is once the user is trying to access a website.php, that is home page. If he is trying to submit the data, that will be automatically moved to home.php, then it will move to first.php, then it will move to logout.php, and it is going to show that logout success page. At any point of time, if the user is trying to access any one of the middle page, then we are trying to redirect it to the main page, that is website.php. This is what we have seen with the help of concepts of both the cookies as well as sessions. Okay, now in today's class, we'll see the concept of how to connect our PHP code with the MySQL database. This is very, very important for you while working with the real time, because user can't able to directly access the database, and he can't able to write SQL queries there itself. Instead, what the user will do, user will try to interact with the user interface, then that needs to be performed in the database part actually. So you have to compulsory know how to connect your PHP part with the MySQL database. For that, we are going to learn the concept of MySQL connection. Okay, guys. So in this session, what we will do is we will try to create two pages. One is login page, another one is registration page, and we will try to work with various kind of operations what we can able to perform with the database. Okay, basically, we are trying to discuss here a MySQL database, MySQL database connection. In MySQL database or any kind of database, we can able to perform various kind of operations. What are the operations we can perform? We can able to perform creation of a database, creation of a table. We can able to perform insertion operation. We can able to perform delete operation. We can able to perform update operation. We can able to perform select operation, etc. So normally in every database we can able to perform all these kind of operations. But the thing is, guys, operation of creation of a table or creation of a database is done by whom in the real time? It is not done by the developer. Instead, it is going to done by the database administrator. So here we are not concentrating on the database part, database creation part. Okay, so instead what we will do is we are trying to perform the operations with the help of insertion queries, deletion queries, update queries, and select queries. So that is what I will show with the clear cut examples. Okay, fine. So first what I will do is I will try to start the exam. If it asks for certain permission, click on yes. I hope you know why I am starting the exam server, right? So if you would like to work with any kind of servers, so I have inside a third party server, that is exam server, where I can able to send certain requests. The server will respond to us. Okay. Okay. So this is the control panel. So I hope you know already this one. So I will start the Apache server. Once I start the Apache server, the server can able to respond for our request and can able to process the request also. So what I can do, I can access localhost slash, let me take the previous class page, that is swebsite.php. So as it is responding, we are getting this page. Okay, fine, that's okay, fine. And one more thing is, if you are trying to work with database, right? So as the exam is internally providing a database called MySQL server for you. So in your systems, you already installed MySQL server, right? So for that MySQL server, the port number is 3306, and whatever the exam server you have installed, the inbuilt exam server, MySQL server also having the port number as 3306. So whenever you are trying to click on start button, you are going to get certain conflict. That conflict I have overridden here by changing the port number. If you want to go through that, you have a video here, you can just go through that whenever you got a certain kind of error. That I have rectified. Once I rectified that, now what I can do, I can able to start the MySQL server also. So why I am trying to start the server? In order to connect to the MySQL database, in order to perform the MySQL database operations, I need to start the MySQL server. So once I start the MySQL server, now I can able to access localhost database. Localhost. If I click on my PHP myadmin, that will be related to database part. Yes, this is the page. I think you have seen this kind of interface. While discussing the concepts of database, we are trying to work with database with the help of SQL command prompt, and also we are trying to work with the SQL workbench. SQL workbench structure will look like the same way. Okay. Now what we will do is we will try to create a database. Just click on database part. Here you have an option called create database. I would like to create the database as RGUKT and just click on create. Database is created. In that, see guys, you can able to create this operation with help of SQL also. You know that I am trying to work with just basic drag and drop options. So the table name here is students, list of students, and my number of columns, let me take as 5. Click on create. Right, it is asking for what are the column names and all the data types, right? So first I am trying to take it as student, I mean serial number of the corresponding student, and student ID, and then I will take student name, student password, and then student email. Student email. Okay, I would like to add one more column. That's why I'm going to select here as add one and click on go. I will save the student phone number also. Student phone number also. Guys, student number is always in integer type. Yes. Student ID combination of characters as well as numbers. Varchar. Student name is also varchar. Password is also varchar. Basically, what you will do, you are trying to write the query, but with the help of this workbench option, the same way this kind of structure, you can able directly select here. So I will take this also varchar. So for integer, you need to specify any kind of data type. Whereas coming to student ID, maximum of 10 length, and student name is maximum of 15. Student password is also 15. Student mail ID is 15. Student phone number is 15 because that may be a USA phone number. So why I have taken specifically here varchar? The USA phone number can having hyphen symbols also, right? If it is an Indian specific number, I will definitely go with only long format. Only it will accept 10 digits. Okay, fine. Then my serial number should be auto incremented. I should not provide this as input. It should be auto incremented by the database automatically. That's why I have selected it as auto incremented. Then I will go with the save option. It is going to processing the request. Observe guys, this is the structure what you have written. Okay, if I go for the SQL part, and you can write the query, describe, the table name is students. You know the meaning of query describe. It is going to describe the entire thing. So serial number is a kind of a primary key and it is auto incremented. So this is what we did. Okay, so I have created a table now. So now what my interest is, I would like to connect to this database. In the database, I would like to connect to the table called student table. I would like to insert the data from the PHP code. That is what I need to do. Yes. So I will show that example. So I will create a new PHP page. So that new PHP page I am calling it as mdb.php. mdb.php. First I will clearly show for you how to work this one. Okay. So first let me explain the concept of MySQL database. See guys, whenever you are trying to work with the MySQL and MySQL database, so these two can't connect directly. Instead, see, if any two third party elements wants to communicate, compulsory what we require? We require some kind of medium or not. If you would like to join RGUKT, what you require? You require to write some exam, or you require to have some kind of 10th class mark. Similarly, If two third party elements wants to communicate, they require some kind of elements, that is something like here the drivers. We can call it as a drivers, or we can call it as the technical names as APIs also, or we can call it as the predefined functions. So when the PHP code wants to communicate with the MySQL database, compulsory required any one of these. So they are going to call it as alias names also, no problem. Okay, so we are trying to connect with here MySQL database. So the MySQL people what did is they have given various kind of functions. They have given various kind of functions to connect your PHP code with the MySQL database. Okay, so those functions can be available in variety of ways. One is in the form of basic as MySQL functions, another in the form of MySQLi functions, in the form of MySQLi functions. What are these two means? So before the version PHP 5, these are the functions that will work perfectly for you before the version PHP 5, and after the version PHP 5 everybody is trying to use MySQLi functions. What is the difference between these two? MySQLi means it's simply, so you know the meaning of MySQL improved enhancement, improved enhancement. So what will happen when we are trying to work with MySQLi functions means, so the performance of your code will be improved. So, sir, can the MySQL functions won't execute right now? No, sorry. These also will be executed, but performance will be decreased. So, in order to make the more performance of our application, we are trying to work with the MySQLi functions. Okay. So here we are trying to concentrate on MySQLi functions. Okay. So whether you are trying to write in the MySQL functions or whether you are trying to write in the MySQLi functions, we can able to write it in two ways. One is through procedure oriented, which you know various kind of language, procedure oriented and object oriented. We can write in the form of procedure oriented, or we can write in the form of object oriented also. Object oriented also. Okay. So I hope you know the differences between the procedure oriented language and object oriented language. In procedure oriented languages, we are going to write the plain data, whereas coming to object oriented languages, we are going to write everything in the form of objects. Everything in the form of objects. Okay. So here we are not concentrating on object oriented. Our main intention here is how to connect our database with the PHP code. That's it. So I will go with the simple process, that is procedure oriented approach. Okay. So in procedure oriented approach, so the in MySQLi functions, they have given various kind of functionalities like MySQL underscore, let me modify, MySQL underscore connect off is a kind of a function which is meant for to connect to the MySQL database. MySQL database, meaning that which is meant for to create the object for to connect MySQL database. So where this MySQL underscore connect is going to accept various kind of parameters. First parameter is host name. First parameter is host name, or we can define some kind of IP address. I mean, if you are trying to connect the local server which is available in the system, then I can write directly the address as localhost. If it is available in some third party server like GoDaddy or somewhere, I will write that IP address. Okay, so that is the first parameter. And second parameter is, once you are trying to connect with the any kind of database, definitely you need to provide authentication. So that for that you have to write the username of the uh, host. And third parameter is, you have to compulsory write obviously password of the host. And fourth parameter is, once you connected to a particular host, in that host we may have various kind of databases like RGK database is there, CS database is there, some NoSQL database is there, like the various kind of database are there, right? I would like to connect to which database, that is what I have to define. So that is database name. Database name. Okay, this is the syntax you have to follow while if you would like to connect with your PHP code with the database part. Okay, so first I will go with this particular structure. So as I am trying to connect with the database part, I will try to write. See, observe. Once I am trying to type MySQL, it is going to provide various kind of options. Here MySQL underscore connect is also a kind of function. What kind of function it is? MySQL function. We are trying to write MySQLi function. Then we can write like MySQLi underscore connect of, what is the first parameter? Localhost. Second parameter is username. Third parameter is password. As I am not having any password for my database, I am going to simply leave it. And fourth parameter is what? RGKT. Just now we have created the database. Okay. Now, so this function is going to return the statement as true or false, meaning that if it is successfully connected, it is going to return the true. If it is not connected, then it's going to return as false. That data I am going to maintain in a variable called $con variable. Now, can I able to check if $con, what I can say? Echo connected, connected successfully. Else, I can say that echo not connected, not connected. Now we'll try to access it. So instead of this one, I will try to type as mdb.php. That's it, right? Yes. Guys, you can observe here, it is showing that connected. What is the meaning of this one? Now I have connected it to the database. Now I can able to perform any kind of operations like insertion operation, deletion operation, update operation, anything I can able to perform. So if you would like to perform any operations, first thing is you have to connect to the database. So for example, let me try to write some password as J. If I try to refresh, what happened? It is showing that not connected, and also it is showing some kind of error. Access denied for the user root at the rate localhost and so on. Some error is there, right? This is because the database is not having any password, but I am trying to give some password, so that's why it is invalid. So it is showing some error. Okay. So if you want to get some kind of more authenticated error, like for example, whenever you are trying to work with exceptions, what you are going to do? Instead of providing user defined exceptions, you are going to provide the system defined exceptions also, where the exact error is there. So like for example, catch of exception e system.out.println of e, it is going to produce the exact error. Similarly here also you can able to get that by using mysql underscore connect underscore error function of, for what variable you are trying to get. Yes, you can observe not connected, and also it is showing some kind of error as there is no password, but you are trying to use the password. That is what it is trying to define. So I will simply remove this one and I will refresh it. Yes, it is connected. But in the real time, do you need to specify that it is connected or not? No need. We are just simply checking for it. If it is not connected, then only I will provide the error. Otherwise, I won't provide the error. I will perform the further operation. That's why I removed the else block and I made it as positive block for that. Okay. So it is connected. Now once connected, I can able to perform some other operations. Let me check for the insertion operation. Insertion operation, guys. You know the command for to perform insertion operation, right? So I will go for SQL here. It is very slow. I'll type the select the insert command. I will try to copy it because to avoid the errors, I am trying to take it and I will paste here. Insert into students, guys. Try to make understood. It is always recommended to go for writing this symbol, apostrophe symbol, for all kind of database variables. So serial number is a local database column name, students is a database table name, like that. So wherever it is there related to database part, make sure that you have to assign with this particular symbol. Okay. So I think I no need to define the serial number, right? Serial number should be automatically incremented. So that's why I'm going to remove this also. And then in value to part, I will try to add the student ID as N180535 and the student name as, let me take Jaya. Student password 12345. Student email ID, let me take jaya@gmail.com, and I will remove the extra field. That's it. And so what I will do is I will assign this to a particular variable. That variable I am generally calling it as $SQL. I am going to make it in the form of double quotations for further. That's I hope you understood this query. I am trying to insert some data into the students table where the columns also I have mentioned specifically. Okay, fine. My query is available in $SQL variable. Now what my requirement is, I have connected a database. Now I would like to execute this query in the database part. For that, SQL people already have given some functions. That function name is MySQLi underscore query function where I need to execute this query. Where I need to execute the query, the database what I have connected, that state of the object I have stored in the con variable. What query I need to execute? SQL query I need to execute. I hope you understood this statement. I need to execute a query. That query need to execute in which database? Con variable it having the status. What query I need to execute? $SQL. So instead of storing it in variable and trying to write here, what we can do is we can copy this entire thing and you can paste here also, but it may get lot of confusion for you. That's why I made like this. Now I will try to make the status in some variable called $r. Okay, if it is successfully executed, it is going to return the true, otherwise it is going to return the false. So I will check for if $r echo inserted successfully, else. So I think this is the first level of explanation. That's why I'm trying to go for the step by step. Next one, not inserted. Let me go for this md.php. I will try to refresh it. It is not inserted because there may be certain problem for you. Where is the error? Here you can observe there is a field called SID, SNAME, password and phone number. Here we have given 5 columns, but here we have given 4 columns. That's the reason it is going to get error. So you have to remember, remind me. So phone number should be something like this. Okay. Now if I refresh it, inserted successfully. So that is the thing we can able to perform. I'll go for browse. I'll just leave this session. Observe serial number 1, which is going to auto increment it. ID is so and so, name, password, mail ID, and phone number. This is the way you can able to perform. But in the real time, is this procedure is happening? No. These values should be getting from which location? From the user registration form. So for that, what I did is I have created one registration form called mregistration.php. So you know everything. I have used here bootstrap and I have used a method called post method. I am trying to make the SID as UID, name as username, password as upassword, email, number, and I have selected for remember me option for the further explanation and some submit button. So the button name is sign up and I am going to give the name as sign up option. Let me open the page. So now I don't require this page. M sign up dot php. I'm sorry, it is a registration page. mregistration.php. Observe guys, this is the page I have created. If the person is already registered, if I click here, that will be related to, there is another page called mlogin.php. This page you have already seen in the previous sessions. So where I have defined the username, password and remember me option. That's it. Okay. Now if I am trying to enter some data here, that data should be stored in the database. That is my requirement. So for that, what you have to do, whenever user clicks on sign up button, I need to redirect it to, I think it is mregistration.php action. So in the action thing, I need to go for mhome.php. I am trying to give some name, mhome.php. Control C, Control N, Control S, mhome.php. Okay. In mhome.php, I would like to write the PHP code. That's why I'm trying to go for this one. Guys, here if any of the user is trying to access directly mhome.php, what you have to do? You have to avoid it, right? So for that, what we can do? Is set method of $_post. What is the variable? Sign up. Sign up. Else, I need to redirect it to location. What is the page? M registration page. M registration.php. Guys, I will try to extend this website to the end. Okay, na? So make sure that clear understood, because I will make complete website with this one for next few classes. Okay. Once the user submits the sign up button, then only I will go for this particular process. Otherwise, I will redirect it to mregistration.php. Now, once the user clicks sign up button, I need to access the all the data what is entered by the user. So first one is student ID, that is available in a variable called, I think, UID. Okay. $_ student name, which is available in a variable called uname. Uname. And student password, which is available in a variable called user password. And what are others? Email ID, student email ID, $_ post of you email, $s phone number, which is available in a variable you phone number. Is it okay? You number, which should be you number. So I have taken all the data. Now I will try to perform echo $SID, $S name, $S password, $S email. I need to cross check first, so that I will go for further. $S phone number. S phone number. Let me check whether it is working perfectly or not. So instead of accessing the mregistration.php, I'll go with the mhome.php. What it should have to provide? It should be related to again mregistration.php. Now if I am entering SID as N180536, name as Krishna, password so and so, mail ID so and so @gmail.com, phone number is nothing. I have answered some. So just for the purpose of checking, let me take. Click on sign up. You are going to get the data or not? You are getting the data, and also it is showing that undefined variable phone on line 10. I need to make it as yes. Yes, guys. So I think we are getting the data from the previous page. Now what my requirement? I don't need to print this data. Instead, I need to insert this data into the database part. So if you would like to perform the insertion operation on the database, what is the minimum requirement? We need to first connect to the database, right? So writing the connection in the one particular page will not connect to the other pages to the database part. So what you have to do is you have to make every page connect to the database. So instead of writing this particular code in every page, what I will do is I will try to create one new page, and I will paste the page name as db.php, so that I will reuse the same code again and again in all the pages. Okay, so this is the PHP code. I need to go for question mark. So my code is available here. So what I would like to do is I would like to connect the database. So I will simply include what is the file name, db.php, so that every page, whatever the page you require to connect to database, I will always use this file, so that number of lines will be reduced. Now my data is, my page is connected to database. Now my next requirement is I would like to insert the data. So for that, what I would like to do is I would like to copy this entire code, so which you know already. I will paste here. So instead of performing the basic static values, these values need to provide in the form of the already available variables. What is available variables? SID, $S name, $s password, $s email, $s phone number. Okay, fine. Once the query is successfully executed, what I can say that registration is hmm. So I need to make here as S4. Okay. So in registration successful. Otherwise, I need to provide as basically we'll check for this. Then we'll go for modifying it. Let me check now. I'll go for back. I'll try to refresh it. So N180536, name as Koti, password as Koti, email as koti@gmail.com, phone number is so and so phone number. Okay, I'll click on sign up. Registration is successful. Registration successful. I'll go for here. I'll click on browse. Now observe guys, it is going to automatically incremented and the database part is data is inserted. This is the way you can able to provide the registration feature for your website. Okay, so I think we no need to provide the else case part for the user. Else case part for the user. So once the registration is successful, what we can do is we can go for further operations. That operations can be anything. So like for example, anchor tag. Okay. So what I can do is, if it is registration is successful, I will simply redirect it to some page. So that I will define in the later part. Some later part. So right now I will make it as comment because we need to do a lot of work. Okay. So my registration is completed. Now my requirement is I would like to get the data. So this is the way you can able to insert data. Now I would like to get the data. So or else let me go with the another insertion. Registration successful. I'll go with m registration.php. I'll go with another registration N180538 I think. Yeah. Krishna. Password is Krishna. Krishna@gmail.com. Phone number is so and so phone number. Click on sign up. Yes. It won't provide anything for you because we didn't get any kind of successful case here. But if you refresh here, that data will be inserted. Now my next requirement is I have performed the registration. Once the registration is done, let me go with the purpose of selection part. So before going for the writing that selection queries inside the main project, what we'll do is we'll try to work this first outside so that you'll get clear idea. So in md.php, I have connected to the database. Then what I did is I would like to write the SQL query. For example, I'll go for SQL. I'll try to write the select query. I'll copy this query and I'll paste here. I need to go for the where command. So I need to define the double quotations to assign it to a kind of a variable called $SQL. Once I have written the SQL query, this query I need to execute in which location? The corresponding host. So that we can define as MySQLi underscore. What is the method? Query. Query of what is the variable I need to define? Con, and the query is $SQL. $SQL. Right? Guys, as here I am trying to get the data. In Java also you can observe whenever you are trying to get the data, what is the output you will get, or in SQL also. What it is going to return? It is going to return a set of data. That set of data we can technically call it as result set. So whatever data that is written by the SQL, that data will call it as result set term. So result set is nothing but a kind of temporary location where data is going to store in the form of rows and columns. Okay. So I made it as a $result variable. Result variable. Okay. Fine. So before that, what I will do is I'll go for writing where command also. Where I would like to make SID as N180537. N180537. I would like to retrieve only one particular row. One particular row. That particular row details will be available in $result session. Okay, fine. Now, now I would like to check for whether this this result set having the data or not. If the result is set is having the data, then I can say that user exists. Otherwise, what I can say, I would like to define it as user not exist. That's it, right? So N180535, if it is not there, I can say that the corresponding student is not exist. So instead of saying the user, I will say that it is student not exist. If student is existing, how we are going to check that? So obviously the select command is going to retrieve more than one row, more than one row. So we can able to count that number of rows what is returned by this query with the help of a function called MySQLi underscore number of rows of at which location you need to define the result. In this particular result set I need to define. So $result contains some temporary data. In the temporary data, you need to count the number of rows. That counting we can able to do with the help of number of rows function. Okay. So if this number of rows are greater than 0, that means there exists some data regarding the N180537. Otherwise, the student is not exist. Now let me check that. Echo success. Let me go for execution of mdb.php. Student is not exist. Why it is showing the student not exist? What ma? ID is not there. 530. Let me go for the result set. The database part. Yes. 535, 536, 538 are there. But unfortunately 537 is not there. So we need to give the 538. It is showing that it is success, meaning that we are trying to retrieve some data. So instead of displaying success, we require is data. So what we can do is we need to process the existing data, right? So if you observe, if you think that the corresponding data, the data is in the form of a columns, sorry, data in form of a row. That row contains multiple data. So it's a kind of an array or not? It's a kind of an array. So in that array, first field is column name followed by data, column name followed by data, like that it will appear. So what you will do is you will try to print the data with help of MySQLi underscore fetch underscore associative dollar. What is that? Result. I hope you are understanding that, right? The data is available in the form of a row. That row will internally contains columns, where each column having some heading. So it is a kind of a some two-dimensional array. Two-dimensional array. You can understand that. So dollar. So I am trying to get one row. So what the function is going to do is it is going to retrieve the first row. It won't bother about how many rows are there. For the first iteration, it is going to get the first row. I am trying to store it in a variable called $row variable. Now, if I print the result, you can understand that. So there is a method called print underscore r method, which is going to define all the details about the corresponding data. You can observe. If I refresh it, you can observe. Serial number is 3, SID is so and so, name, mail ID, phone number. All the data is like this. Now, from this data, can we able to get the exact data of student name or student mail ID or student password? Yes, right? So what we can do? If I write like row of what is the name? SID. For example, I would like to display only SID and S name. That's why I can able to get. So I will try to write echo $row of, I'm sorry, $row of what fields you require. Let us assume that I would like to require only student name, student ID, and student mail. I don't think so all are necessary. Only I am thinking that these two are enough. Then if I refresh it, I will get only those two details. N180538, the name is Krishna. This is the way you can able to process it. So for the purpose of processing, we are going to use MySQL underscore fetch underscore associate. Okay, fine. There are a lot of methods are there, like MySQL underscore fetch underscore array is there, which is meant for, so there is a difference between these two. So with the help of MySQL underscore fetch underscore associate, you can able to get the data in the form of only with the help of column names like $row of SID. Whereas if you are going to define in the form of MySQL underscore fetch underscore array, you are going to get the data in the form of either the column names, or you can define with the help of indexes also. This serial number is 0, SID is 1, like that. So but if it wants to work here, you have to compulsory define it as array. Array. You can able to practice that if it is necessary. This is the way you can able to get. But the thing is, I don't want to point out to one particular student. Instead, I would like to get all the students. Instead, I would like to get all the students. Even though I want to get all the students, do I get to only all the students, or I am getting only one particular student? That too, which student? 535, first student, which is available here. I want to get all the student details. What we can do? We need to iterate the entire the result set. I need the entire result set. So for that, what we can do is we can simply go for while loop. While of until there is a number of rows are there, I will try to make it iterate. Okay. Now if I refresh it, observe, you are going to get the data. I will try to make some HTML code here. Observe, this is the way you can able. So with the help of your own concepts, you can able to process this data. For example, I am trying to insert some more data like localhost slash, why it is not showing, m registration dot php. If I am trying to enter N180537, name is Lakshmi, password is Lakshmi, mail ID is Lakshmi at the rate gmail.com, phone number is so and so phone number. If I click on sign up, yes, that is successful. And if I refresh here, you are going to get data. Okay, so this is the way you can able to perform select operations. Okay. Now what I would like to do is, so I think you are clear with this concept. Now what we can do is we can integrate the same concept with the project, right? So what my requirement is, once the user is trying to log in, I need to check first whether he is a valid user or not, right? So I have taken this particular page like mlogin.php, where the user is trying to submit the data. That data I need to process at some location. The location name is, can you give some name? mlogin home.php. mlogin home.php. Guys, you have to give some valid meaning, valid meaningful names. Control yes, control V. mlogin home.php. Now, here what I need to check, when the user is requesting for the login, first we need to check whether he is a valid user or not. Valid user means in the previous class what you have did, we have taken some static values and we are trying to compare. But right now what you have to do is, we have to get the original data from the database and we need to compare, and we need to define that whether the user is valid user or not. So for that, I will try to create one PHP page. So now user should not access this directly. So for that, what I will do is, I can go for each set of dollar underscore post of, what is the variable submission name? I think login. We are trying to work it. I think sign up is for registration number. Login, right? When the user is trying to click on the login button, then I need to go for this page. Otherwise, I can say that header of location colon, I am trying to redirect it to mlogin.php. If he is successfully submitting from the mlogin.php page, we need to get the data first in order to perform the comparison. So for that, what we can do, dollar underscore, sorry, dollar, the uname. let me take submitted name or student name. That I need to get from the dollar underscore post of what is the name? I think uname. So what we are trying to get from the database? So from the username and password, username and password, and dollar s password is dollar underscore post of s password, s password. Okay. Now once we get these two data, we are going to compare it with the database data, right? If you are trying to get the database data, what you require? First you need to connect to the database part. For that what you can do? You can go for include db.php. I have connected to database. Once it connected to database, I need to get the data. How we are going to get the data? So let me go for the page what I have written. Select. So what are our requirements? I would like to get only student name because we are trying to get with the student name. Or else can we go with ID number? That's better. I'll go with ID number. ID number meaning that in the username field, user has to enter the ID number. ID number, and then user need to enter the password that I need to get, and all the remaining things I know need. From students table where where SID, SID, right? SID equal to what is the value you need to check? What is the value? S name, dollar S name. That should be in the single. I hope you understood, right? So we are trying to get the data of SID and S password from the students table where the student ID matched with the given username, which is available in the dollar $s name. Okay. Now I need to check. I need to execute this query. For that, what will function? SQLi underscore query of dollar $con comma. Guys, dollar $con is available which location? db.php. That you can understand, right? Dollar $con comma dollar SQL. SQL. Okay. It is going to provide some result set. So that's why I'm trying to make it as result set. Right? Now, what we can check? Do we need to get the data or do we need to just compare? Just making comparison, right? If I am getting more than 0 rows, that means the corresponding data exists. So if, so what we can do? MySQL underscore number of rows of dollar result is greater than 0, is greater than 0. I can say that. So if it is not a valid ID, what I will do is I will simply say that invalid user ID, invalid user ID, because the user ID is not exist, because the user ID may not be exist. Invalid student ID. Student. If it is returning more than one row, what that means? We are successfully logging or there exists some data. There exists some data. Now, if there exists some data, what we need to do? We need to once again compare the further process. So for that, what we can do means we need to get the data. The data is available in the form of a row. MySQLi underscore fetch underscore associate of what is the location? Result. Now, here there exists some data. That data is available in the form of what? SID. That SID should be available in which location? Something like database student ID. I hope you understood. What are the data that I am trying to get from the database? That I am trying to store in a variable called dStudentID for the comparison purpose. Similarly, dollar $d s password. S password equal to dollar row of S password. S password. First, I will check for both data s whether it is correct or not. DSID, comma dollar ds password. data is. Okay, let me check this up to here. So can I go for directly mlogin.php? Yes, mlogin.php. Yes. So if it is not already registered, if he is not registered yet, he can go for clicking here. I'm trying to enter some invalid data initially, Jaya and so on. So click submit. Obviously invalid student ID, and it is going to return some as line number 6 s password. Ma? Yes, very good. It is u password. Now if I refresh it, you'll get now invalid student ID. Now what I would like to do is, I'll come back, I'll give some valid ID N180537, N180537, and the password is Lakshmi, LJKSHMI. Lakshmi. Click submit. Yes, data is N180537 Lakshmi. Guys, is the data is getting from database, right, or from the user input? Data is getting from the database. Don't think that it is getting directly from the input fields. It is getting from the database. Those are available in these two fields. Now what we can do, we can compare now. So how we are going to compare? If dollar s name double equal to dollar d sid, and dollar s password double equal to dollar dspswd, then what I can show? I can show that echo login success else I will try to print echo as please enter correct username or user password, and I will provide option for to redirect ahref equal to mlogin.php php try again, closing of anchor tag. That's it. Okay, guys, if I am going to print F5, it will show that login success. I think so. Login success. So, for example, if I am trying to go for mlogin.php, it will go for here, and I am trying to enter N180537. I am trying to enter the password as Koti. Click submit. It will show that please enter the correct username or password. Click here for try again. I'll try to enter N180535. I think password is 12345. If I submit, yes, login success. This is the way you can able to perform the login operation. Okay, fine. Now my requirement is, for example, there are some chances are there, user may not register. So at that time, what user may feel, user may go to the registration page like mregistration.php. mregistration.php, or there are some chances that user may be registered already, but he may forget the password. Right? So then I can define one page, forget password page, where it is there. Have you forgot the password? Then I can provide an option for that page. Same thing. Ahref equal to, so m forgot.php. Click here. I am going to go for this. Okay. So I think it is clear for up to now. I'll go for mlogin.php. Okay. So I think I need to go for some break here. Have you forgot the password? Click here. Once the user clicks on forget password, you can just implement the code for that. Control S, Control V dot PHP. Now in this particular page, so what is the minimum requirement you need to remember? Let us assume that there are something which you already taken from the user. For example, let me compare with the phone number. If he is already have remembered the phone number, then we need to provide for update the data. So then what we can do is, I'll try to copy this entire page. I'll paste here and make digitize forgot or reset password page. So guys, tell me what are the things user need to provide if he forget the password. He need to provide the valid username. Let us assume he need to provide the valid username, but he forget the password. Instead of password, we are trying to expect some previous phone number, whatever the thing he is registered. So you phone number, this is what I'm expecting from the user. Once he entered the valid phone number and the valid username, I am going to provide option for the reset password. Reset password. So here the password is change C underscore password. Or let me take change reset password. Reset password. I don't want to provide any of these two options. Okay, if he is not registered, he can go for the process. If he has already logged in, sir, not registered is enough. Login here. Login here. What is the page? mlogin.php. mlogin.php. Now, once the user enters some data, what need to redirect? M database. Let me take md password.php. I'll try to copy, paste, yes, control V, md password.php. In md password.php, what we need to do? We need to check whether user is trying to access from invalid or not. So for that, if is set of dollar underscore post of, what's the name? Change, I think so, right? Change, else he need to access, he need to redirect it to any one of the page header of location colon. Let me redirect it to mlogin.php. mlogin.php. If he is trying to access invalid data. Now, I need to provide the login reset option. So for that, what we can do is, I need to access the data what is entered by the user. So dollar username equal to dollar underscore post of, what is the name? Username, and dollar phone number equal to dollar underscore post of, I think user phone, phone. Yes, we got the data. Now, when we are able to allow the data to update the database, because whenever this data is matched with the database data, then I need to go for further process. So how we are going to get the data of corresponding username? I will take it from some location. I think you know this meaning. I will try to copy it. But if you want to execute this SQL query, what you require? You need to write include function, include what ma db.php. Very good. I think you are getting hungry, right? Fast response. So I'm trying to get select SID. So what I need to get only SID and the S phone. S phone is there. S phone is there. I need to get only these two. For the corresponding what value? Uname. For the corresponding username. I am trying to check for this one. Then I need to execute the query. So for that, I will simply copy this data. I will try to execute. If number of rows are more than one, I will say that. Okay. So I don't want to avoid confusion for you. I will just copy these two only. I'll copy it. Now I'm trying to execute in the database MySQL query of $con $SQL, and if more than one row is there, what is the meaning of this one? We should be able to allow to reset. Very good. We need to Allow to reset. We need to allow to reset. If the number of rows are not getting, what you need to? You need to provide as echo enter valid details. We need to enter the valid details because the corresponding username is not existed, right? If the number of rows are more, what we need to do? We need to perform update operation. Very good, right? So in order to perform the update operation, first we need to get the data from the database. For getting the data from the database, I need to go for the same process. I will copy and I will try to modify it. Dollar row, this is what DSID. I would like to get the DSID, and then I would like to get the phone number, D phone number, and this is I think S phone. Is it okay? Yes, I got the S phone. So now I need to compare once again these two. If dollar uname double equal to dollar DSID, any mistakes are there, and dollar phone number, I think this is not dollar phone double equal to dollar D phone double equal to dollar D phone. Is it okay? We need to provide echo update operation. We need to provide update operation. Otherwise, we need to make that echo enter valid SID, enter valid uname and phone number. Okay, fine. Now, if both are entered valid, enter details are valid with the database, what do we need to do? We need to perform update operation. We need to perform update operation. That is why I have discussed all these things up to now. So what I would like to do is I would like to write some update query, right? So that update query you can get from here, because to avoid some kind of confusion from our end, I'll try to copy. I'll paste here. Update students set. What we need to modify? We need to modify the password or any other thing? Only password. We need to modify the password, and all the things are not required. But the thing is, we forget the basic one. What is that? New password. So that we need to update here. In the mforget.php, I need to copy this code. Password. Here I would like to ask for new password. New password. That password name is n password. N password. That variable I need to get dollar n password equal to dollar underscore post of. Is it okay, right? N password. I got the data now. Now, what I need to update here? We need to modify that, right? Dollar n password. Where I need to update? Where I need to match it, right? What is that? SID. SID is equal to, what's the value? That is available, right? Where it is available, dollar any variable, dollar DSID. Is it okay, ma? I am trying to update the students table. I am trying to update the password only, where it is matched with the SID as dollar DSID. So this can be dollar DSID, or it can be dollar uname also. So I am going to make it in the double quotations as like the previous queries, and I am going to assign it to dollar SQL. So I have written the SQL query. Now what is my next task? I need to execute in the host. For that, MySQLi underscore query of dollar $con. I think I have included the DB dollar $con comma. What is the query I need to execute? Dollar SQL. SQL entity. So I'm going to define it as $r if $r if it is updated successfully, echo now you can log in with new password. You can log in with new password, else sorry something wrong. Is it okay, now? I think we made the exact thing what we required. Hmm? Let me try to go for the page mlogin.php. Now assume that I forget the password, then I'm going to click here. That will be related to the make digit reset password page, where I am trying to go for, if I am not registered, I can go for register. If I am having already login data, then I can go for login here. Now my requirement is I want to change the password. For example, I forgot it. I am trying to enter N180 Phone number is some. Let me take the invalid data, Jaya. So I think I need to enter something 9876, and I need to enter the password as 12345. Click reset. Now what need to happen? It should not allow to reset the password, right? You can observe here in the password field. So for the user ID N180535, the password is 12345. Okay, I need to give some 6 also, so that you can get clear. If I click on reset password, it is showing that enter valid username and phone number. Enter valid username and phone number. So I'll come back. I will try to enter the phone number, the valid phone number. It is, I think, up to 0. 9876543210. Now will it going to be allowed? It needs to be allowed. I will click on reset password. Now you can log in with the new password. Why it is going to allow? For the purpose of updation, you can just click here. You can check it is 123456. It was updated. So update query is successful. Now user can log in with the help of mlogin.php. Now he can enter N180 535 I would like to enter 12345 only. It is going to show that enter correct username or password, because I entered only for up to 5. Now if I entered N180 535 click submit, login success. This is the way he can able to perform the operations. If he is a kind of an admin, he can able to perform the deletion of the students also. That we will see in the further sessions. Okay.